All right, so we're going to start with our lesson, our session program. It's titled United States Constitution, Our First Five Freedoms, and this is for grades 3rd through 5th. Again, this is interactive and engaging, so join in with answers as you have them or questions that you have. We do have a 40-minute session. I know some of you may be coming in and out at that time, and that is fine. So we'll just go ahead and get started. So we'll start just a little bit about who we are here at the museum. So a little bit about the United States Marshals Museum. First off, my name is Veronica, and I am the Outreach Program Manager here at the museum. And I work with schools. I am an educator. I'm a licensed teacher. I was a 3rd grade teacher at Fort Smith Public Schools, and now I teach here at the museum. So this is also a job that you can do with an education degree. So here at the museum, our mission is to share the heritage, legacy, and provide knowledge and inspire all of you to know a little bit about the United States Marshals Service and the men and women who serve within that branch. So our museum, we go back, there you go. Our museum right here, you see in the picture, we are located in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Raise your hand if you're from the area and have seen this building. There you go. So this building right here is next to the Arkansas River, and we're located on 789 Riverfront Drive, Fort Smith, Arkansas. Here we have some pictures of our gallery. So if you ever come to the museum and visit us, these are some stuff that you'll be able to see, some pretty cool, neat pictures and information about events that the Marshals have been a part of. So here in the case, you'll see some old versions of handcuffs on that left picture. And those are the handcuffs that they used way back in the days. Our cuffs today look a bit differently. And it just kind of shows you the transition of how technology changed, even things like handcuffs. On the right-hand side, you have that large tower. We call that the Tower of Chaos. And it's just about, it shows pictures of events that's happened throughout the U.S. that were like protesting or a bit more violent in nature that the Marshals have been a part of. So who are the United States Marshals? If you are not too familiar about them, just think about law enforcement agencies similar to like police officers or military members. They work with the executive branch and the judicial branch of government. They were enacted in 1789. George Washington was the first president that actually chose the first 13 marshals. So they're the oldest law enforcement agency that we have in the U.S., one of the smaller ones, and they work along with judges. We do have a U.S. Marshal here in Fort Smith, and his office is in the courts on Rogers Avenue, right in the downtown area. So we actually have a marshal here in Fort Smith for the state of Arkansas. So we're going to go into the Constitution. Now, I did hear Ms. Bowers talking a little bit about Constitution. Has anyone else learned a bit about the Constitution, about government this week or in earlier times? Raise your hand if you know what the Constitution is, know a little bit about our government. All right, see some classes there, Ms. Sanchez class, and I see Lopez class, and Ms. Bowers, good job. Yeah, so the Constitution is our rule book. So probably at the beginning of the year in your classroom, you guys may have gotten together and created a classroom constitution. You may call it a classroom contract. You may call it rules and expectations, rules and procedures. Are you guys familiar with that? Do you guys have those in the class posted somewhere? See those hands? Yeah, so they're probably posted in your classroom. And those are ways that you in your class or even in your school, you know how to behave. What are things you can do? What are things that you shouldn't be doing? And then you understand those consequences that come right along with it. And that is what the Constitution is. It is the rule book for all of us in the United States. It was written a long time ago and by our country's founders. And it was just to create a community that is fair and just for everyone. So today our focus is going to be on the First Amendment. The First Amendment, and in our First Amendment is a very important piece of our history. Right here you have a picture of the actual first page of the Bill of Rights. That's where you can find the First Amendment. Raise a hand, show me those that have learned about the Bill of Rights. You know what the Bill of Rights are. Learned a song, did a dance, did a jig. I see those hands. There you go. So here we have the a picture of the first page of the Bill of Rights. Sorry, and the Bill of Rights is kind of gives you the very first freedoms. It's very protective about what you can and what rights you have. And so we're going to look at the first 5. So the First Amendment gives us 5 freedoms that we're going to be talking about today. Freedom of speech. Who's this gentleman in this picture? Do we know him? Let's share it out. Let's type it in. Who is this guy right here?
Our mic is on. You can hear. They can hear.
There you go. That's Martin Luther King Jr. And I saw Miss. There you go. Miss Bowers' class, Martin Luther King Jr. And he is someone that we think about quite often, and he exercised that freedom of speech, and he did it quite well on making sure that he did it within the constitutional rights as well. And he is a great example of what freedom of speech looks like. So we could, freedom of speech means that we can express our ideas and opinions. We can talk about it. We can write about it. You can create art about it. And that's about things that we believe in. And so here we have Martin Luther King. He's at in Washington, D.C. He's at a conference, a leadership conference, and he is giving a keynote speech. We also have a kind of, if you see on my screen, there's like a little asterisk, and there's almost like this, but kids remember. So we do have a lot of, well, I have the right to say whatever I want. Yes and no. If you're disrupting school or breaking a school policy, that's not within your freedom of speech. So when we are speaking our ideas and expressing our ideas and our opinions, we got to make sure that we're not disrupting school, because that is not covered. Okay, freedom of speech must not disrupt school, your school rules, or break school policies. So keep that in mind. Here we have 2 pictures of other times people were expressing their right to freedom of speech. So we have here on the left-hand side, you have a woman holding a banner, and it says, "Mr. President, how long must women wait for liberty?" A long time ago, women were not allowed to vote, and so they wanted to express their feelings about it, their opinions. And so women spent 2 years standing in front of the White House, 2 years, holding signs, holding banners, waving flags to let the president know. Now, they didn't use their voice in this form of speech. They used the signs and everything to share and express their feelings to the president. And they did that for 2 years. On the right-hand side, you have 4 gentlemen, and they're sitting at a counter, cafe counter. Do you see that there? Now, a long while ago, there were stores that followed different kind of laws. They were called the Jim Crow laws. And if you were African American, you couldn't sit at the counter and have lunch. And so they wanted to use their freedom of speech and protest as well of how they felt about it. So for 6 months, these men, they came and they sat at this counter and they expressed it silently, and they were there just letting people know that they didn't think it was right that only certain people of certain colors could be sitting in the front. And after 6 months, the owners of that company's Woolworth, they overturned their rule, their policy at their stores, and now everyone was able to sit at the counters. So freedom of speech, if you use it right, can be really helpful on making sure that everything is just for everyone here in the US. So I have a question for you guys. You ready for a question? All right, so why is it important to be respectful when sharing your ideas? Why is it important? You can type in answers. I'll read them there, or we have someone that wants to share. Maybe we can have a kid. share the answer on the mic. And teachers, you could pick someone and I'll know they're ready to speak if their face is in front of the camera. If you don't have a camera, that's fine as well. Just go ahead and type in an answer. Why is it important to be respectful when sharing your ideas? Oh, we have a student from Miss Bowers. Go ahead.
To listen to other people's ideas.
Okay, we gotta be respectful so we can be able to listen to their ideas. Very good. We have someone from Ms. Lopez class.
It's important to be respectful because we need to be like fair and make it equal.
Okay. So be respectful allows us to be fair and equal. Good job. Right, anyone else we have in the chat room? Someone may say something very important. Ms. Pope's trustee third grade class, Ms. Pope says, being respectful allows us to hear something that may be important, very important for us to all hear. Anyone else? Okay, so let's move. I saw a hand. And then you can share those discussions with your class as well. You can share those ideas. All right, so if you participate in the activity that comes along with it, you'll be creating a banner. And then for there was also one pager sent out, templates that were sent out as well. And this may be something that you've already done or maybe doing later, but you guys did have an option of creating these banners like this with the 5 freedoms. So the first banner, the first pennant is a freedom of speech. And you guys will be able to use words, write your words, or draw a picture of what you feel freedom of speech means to you. So here at the museum, we drew a picture of Martin Luther King Jr. Because he's quite famous for his speeches, and we have him sharing his I Have a Dream speech. So if you participate, teachers, you go ahead and also share it with us so we can see what your students have done, the work that they've completed. Pretty neat activity for you guys to do along with this one. All right, freedom of religion. Freedom of religion is next. Now, freedom of religion lets us believe in any religion or believe in none. And that is our choice because it's our freedom. It means that we can go to our own places of worship and follow our own beliefs. So it means everybody in your class could have a different belief system, and that is okay. It is our rights, our freedom to do that. So we have a freedom of religion. And here in this picture, we have 2 military members, and they're out in Korea. They were at a Korean conflict, and they wanted to be baptized, and they were able to because they had the freedom to do so. So freedom of religion is really important for us to remember, and that means that you can believe in something or believe in nothing, and that is okay. It is our right. So here's a picture of what we saw in our heads, and so we drew it. The freedom of religion, and we just see it as a bunch of people in our communities that can believe and look differently due to their beliefs. Our third freedom is freedom of press, and not the press that you do this way with your hands or when you're pressing down on your paper. Okay, the press includes the newspaper, TV, the radio, the internet. Freedom of press helps us know what is happening in the world. So you can get information from online. If your parents still turn on the TV and you guys even see weather and there's a newscast on, that's the freedom of press. And so this picture is showing us the White House in the background. It is in the Rose Garden, and the president holds conferences at times, press conferences. So all those people you see there, they're a part of the press. They have video recorders, they have cameras and voice recorders, and they're going to share with you what the president is sharing to the nation. And so it provides an opportunity for them to share the information about our government, and it also keeps our government accountable. Okay, sometimes the government may not want us to share the press. Like in this picture you see here, this is in 1918, and this rule was called the Sedition Act. And that said that we couldn't make up things or write things about the government that was mean. So we have that picture that someone drew. That's they were sharing their feelings, and the government did not like it. So if you didn't have anything nice to say about the government, they would arrest you. And we're like, whoa, wait a minute, that doesn't let us have our freedom of press. And so that rule doesn't belong anymore. We don't have it anymore. But there was a time where you couldn't write or say anything you wanted. And so the government could do what they wanted. And so we have the freedom of press to make sure that the government is being accountable for their actions and choices. Question for you now. How can the news, so that's news on the TV, online, TV stations, how can they be sure to use their freedom to tell stories nicely and carefully? What should journalists do? Like, how can they be sure that when they're sharing the news with you, that they're doing it in a way that's careful and nice? And then you can also put your answer in the chat. All right, we see someone for Ms. Lopez class.
They have
So,
to,
Beth, can I have Avery Smith to the office for just a moment?
Sure.
they have,
Okay.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
ma'am. She's on her way.
they have to like tell the truth, but also be nice about it.
Okay.
But how do they do that?
How can they be sure they're doing that?
They they use like nice words about
Okay.
like they don't, they like tell you like the truth, but also be nice about it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you so much for sharing. All right, so this may have happened in a class one time, and so we'll just use the example that I've experienced, which is maybe someone sharing, like I heard something and I'm going to share it with someone else, but I didn't make sure that I had the information correct. Okay, so we want the news people and the TV stations to make sure that they're checking and making sure their information is correct before they give it to us, right? We don't want to hear that, oh, that tomorrow there's going to be a snowstorm outside and you guys are excited about having a snow day, right? And then, but they didn't really check to make sure it was true before they shared it, and it's not going to be a snow day tomorrow. And so it's things like that, just making sure that we have the information correct before we share it, and that makes sure that they're being careful. So here is. All right, Miss Phelps class, thank you so much. And then will be recorded and put back, so if you want to finish it later, you can. All right, so here is a pennant of freedom of press. You can draw a picture, you can write your words, you can express what you think freedom of press looks like for you. All right, our fourth freedom is a right to assembly. And that means getting together. You may have Friday assemblies in your school where you guys get together for a rise and shine. This is what an assembly means. It means a group coming together. And so people get together for assemblies in government to protest, to share their ideas. They gather for different reasons, and that is a right. You have a right to get together and hold peaceful protests. This helps us share our ideas. And here are some pictures of some very important, notable events that happened. Here we go. We have Martin Luther King Jr. again, because he gave really good speeches. And so here he has an assembly. Look at all those thousands of people behind him, because they all had the same feelings, and they wanted to protest and share those feelings. And he was able to speak on their behalf here. Here on the left, you have all those people with umbrellas, and they're getting together because they're having a march for climate. So they were wanting to have, they wanted to share their ideas and share their feelings on how they felt about the climate, which is like our weather, the way our temperatures and what we could do to save the planet. So here at the museum, we saw that as a whole group of people, just like you see here, getting together for one cause. We have them kind of like holding their hands, holding each other's hands as they're coming together. All right, right to petition, right to petition. This is one of my favorite ones. Is the right to petition means that we can ask the government to make changes. So let me share this picture here with you about this. So this is a while ago, but this is a true letter that a 3rd grade class sent to the President of the United States. So a class got together and they were like, you know what? There's a Mother's Day, there's a Father's Day, but there's no Kids Day. And so they're like, we should have a Kids Day. So they got together and they wrote a letter to Mr. Ford, that was President Ford, and they said, mother and fathers get to have Father's Day and Mother's Day, so why can't we have Kids Day? Because we have birthdays, but so do our parents. And please let us have Kids Day. Yours truly. And a petition needs a bunch of signatures. So here you have all the kids in the class, they signed the petition asking the president for a Kids Day, an extra day off. And this is actually from the archives and it's kept. They really enjoyed getting that letter from students like yourself. And so it's kept for people to see. Here are some other petitions that we've had that have passed. This one with the picture of the dog was to pass a law to help animals not be abused. And this petition was written by a student in high school, and she shared it online, and over 800,000, let me say that again, 800,000 people signed her petition. And it was victorious, they won, and now there's the Animal Cruelty Act that helps protect animals. So you can do petitions in your classroom to your teacher, you can make petitions for your principal, you can make petitions all the way up to the president. And here on our pennant, we have a petition to a principal, and we're getting the students to sign it here, just like you see. And it was designed to tell the principal, no more broccoli at lunch. Let's think of a different vegetable, no more broccoli. And so that the students signed it, and they gave the petition to the principal, and maybe she can change it. Maybe instead of broccoli, they could have what? What can we have instead? See lots of hands in Ms. Bauer's class.
Carrots.
Okay, so instead of broccoli, we could have carrots.
No.
Okay. Maybe someone would say instead of broccoli, let's just have French fries. Like we don't even want an extra vegetable, right? Maybe instead of broccoli, put in chocolate chip cookie. So you can write anything you want on, oh, Miss Lopez. You have someone in your group? Oh, cucumbers. Okay. Instead of broccoli, let's do cucumbers. So you could do petitions. You could write that to your cafeteria monitor and say, hey, is there a way that we can get a chocolate chip cookie at least once a month on our plate, and then petition it? Maybe they'll hear you guys, but you wouldn't know unless you petition it, right? You gotta write that petition. All right, protecting our freedoms is our last one, our 5th one. Well, sorry, that's not our 5th one. So the First Amendment actually protects our freedoms, and it protects our rights and keeps our country fair. Sometimes the government might limit those freedoms, like we can't say I have the freedom of speech in your classroom and disrupt learning. You don't have the freedom to disrupt the learning in the classroom. Okay, so we just can't say, well, that's my freedom. I could talk all day in classroom. If it disrupts learning, you can't. So sometimes government will limit your freedoms to make sure that it doesn't harm other people. So here at our conclusion, we have five freedoms that we learned about: freedom of speech, religion, press, assembly, and petition. There are 5. And so the banner, and then we also have a 1-pager, teachers that were sent to you, that you can just get it on one sheet where they can share what they learn about speech, religion, press, assembly, and petition. My last question to you guys before we head out is, well, can you name the 5 freedoms protected? Can you name them? And we can get a couple of people. Who knows them? We have someone from Ms. Lopez's class, or did we not put your hand down?
We never put our hand down, sorry.
Okay. I just want to make sure we weren't missing you. All right, got some people in Ms. Bauer's class. All right, go ahead.
Speech, religion, and press.
That's 3.
I
What was the
forgot the
petition
other
one?
Speech, religion, press.
I forgot. Petition and
Can someone
assembly.
help him?
Petition and assembly.
Petition and assembly, I heard it. All right, can someone else do it? Get someone else. And while we're getting someone else, let's go ahead. I just have one more question. It's not on my screen, but it should have been. It's just, why are these 5 freedoms important? Why should we have them? Why are they important to us? And you could type that in. You could type an answer one of your students have given, or they could speak in the video. Why is it important for us to have those freedoms?
Ooh,
They help.
sorry, go ahead.
They help protect other people and ourselves.
Very good. I love it. They help protect other people and ourselves. Someone else, their thoughts. Why is it important for us to have those 5 freedoms? All right. I don't see anyone writing on the chat, so we'll just go ahead and go to our final, which I think is this our empty one here. And so I'd like to go ahead and thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you for participating. Thank you for letting me into your classrooms and even showing me your classrooms. Thank you guys for being engaging and interactive and just collaborating in this session. So I hope you learned a little bit about your first 5 freedoms. I hope that you can go home and share some information with your families and say, hey, this is what I learned, or this is who I learned about. And then again, you can, we're to try to hold some more sessions here at the museum. And if you haven't visited us, then come and visit us as well. We'd love to have you guys. Again, my name is Veronica. I'm an outreach manager here at the United States Marshal Museum. You guys have a great day. The class is about to end. You guys don't have a lot of time left. So enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.